As of right now, nobody is talking about one of the biggest crises that Americans are about to face. And this is turning into a bigger issue than most people even realize. Today we're going to discuss what one of the biggest crises is and why this is turning into a bigger issue. Nobody's talking about this, not because they don't want to, it's just not a popular topic. Mainly because nobody wants to hear about how things are going to get harder for them in the very near future. So, I want to read you what somebody wrote me, okay? This is somebody that I really respect, great person. Anyway, the person says this, here is the problem. Currently, we are going through a period of prolonged inflation, and things are doing fairly well right now, but we are seeing the signs that consumers are done buying homes above value. They don't want to spend a week's paycheck on a car payment. They can't afford to eat eggs and fresh fruits and vegetables, and they are beginning to find cheaper alternatives. Now, what I find interesting about that is he says that they're beginning to find cheaper alternatives. Here's the problem. The cheaper alternatives are also becoming more expensive. They were cheaper, not necessarily anymore. I want to show you something though. What we are facing is a huge disaster. Because in order for people to afford cheaper options, that means they have to stop spending the money on the higher quality goods, the more expensive product, the companies with a little bit better marketing. Look at this. It says Hormel is going to lay off 135 workers in a Georgia facility. Okay? You are about to see grocery face a massive crisis. We are already seeing layoffs, but now we're starting to see it at some of the bigger companies, the ones that have billions and billions of dollars. Look at this. There's another billion-dollar company, Kroger. They announced just today they're going to lay off 1,000 corporate workers in a cost-cutting move. 1,000 corporate workers. Okay, from Kroger. Kroger's a big company. You know what's another big company? Walmart. It says Walmart makes more layoffs as operators worry about tariffs' impact. Tariffs aren't going away. They're going to stay. Now, I want to read you the rest of what this person wrote me. So they talked about consumers are beginning to find cheaper alternatives. It goes on to say, but what nobody is talking about is the period of deflation that we need to see. Inflation has wrecked this economy, and until we see prices come down, retailers are going to see less profits. And normally what happens when they see less profits, there's more of a push from the board of directors. There's more of a push from investors, the stockholders, to change the way they're doing business. He goes on to say, inflation has wrecked this economy. Now, so what has to happen is pretty simple. In order to get prices to come down, we need to experience deflation. And in order to experience deflation, we need to experience layoffs and a reduction in wages. I don't know any time in history when prices dropped without either one of these two things happening or about to happen. Okay. Here's where things get very interesting. And I talked about this before where we had the makings of a wage price spiral. And this was during the pandemic. Essentially what happened was the American people were asking for wages to go up because they needed wages to go up to afford all these other products, all these other goods and their utility bills and real estate, their rent, a new car, right? They needed wages to go up to afford all this other stuff that was going up as well. Here's the issue. And I want to read a comment from a friend of mine who does own a grocery store and what he had to do recently. But here's the problem. Wages kept going up and the cost of the goods kept going up as well. In order to afford those products, wages went up a little more to afford that. But then the prices went up because people were still buying it. That's what caused inflation. Okay? People were given money from the federal government in the tune of a $600 check, a $1,400 check, a $1,200 stimulus check. They got enhanced unemployment benefits. They got PPP loans. And so all that money, all that stimulus went to go buy other goods. And the prices kept going up. Here's the problem. There was more stimulus given than what was absolutely needed, according to experts. They say that wages did not go up the way that they should have. Okay? Wages kept going. It went up a little bit. They went up 2%, 3%, 4%. But then the products were going up as well because they could afford them. And so what happened was then wages kept going up. The price of the product went up. Wages went up. So on and so forth. But you think about it, the price of real estate shot through the roof. The biggest expenses that people had, real estate, okay, food, just the cost of living in general, utility payments, right, car payments, those things surged. The prices of those things went through the roof. But guess what happened with wages? They're down here. So here's what people are saying. Here's what financial experts and economists are telling us. We need wages to go down. We need reductions in wages. That means you're not getting paid as much. Your benefits are getting reduced. Your hours are being reduced. Or you're simply going to be out of a job. Listen to what a friend of mine said. He owns a grocery store down in California. He says, during the pandemic, we went back and forth with wages versus prices. Wages had to go up to afford the prices of most goods as a result of supply chain disruptions. But we don't have supply chain disruptions anymore. So what we did recently is cut back on wages by 4% across the entire company, and this will help bring prices down so we can get our customers back. So essentially what he did is he decided we're not going to wait for tariffs to come down. We're not going to wait for prices to drop. We're not going to wait for interest rates to come down. What he decided he's going to do, and maybe this is premature, he decided he is going to bring the cost of labor down. He reduced everyone's salary by 4%. Okay, 4%, that's substantial. That's more than the raise he gave them this past year. So he's bringing their salaries down, their wages down. And hopefully, and again, by bringing wages down, that should make it easier for the company to charge less prices. So they don't have to charge as much. That's essentially what's going on. Now again, this is what nobody's talking about. This is the next crisis, is that we are going to see more layoffs. We are going to see more companies turn towards AI and systems. And as we see that, again, the cost of labor is going to come down. But the biggest crisis is this. What about those companies that can't afford to innovate and get artificial intelligence into their workplace? What about those companies that have to use individuals and they have to pay them hourly? What they're going to do, and we saw this early on in 2024, is people were seeing their benefits get reduced. Less insurance, where all you had was health insurance. No vision, no dental. You saw the company car, it went away. You saw the company credit card, yeah, locked it up. Cut it in half. No more. That's what we saw then. What we're about to see now is wages are going to drop. You are going to be asked, hey, you got two options. You got door number one, which is we lay you off, or door number two, which you continue to keep your job, you continue to reap all the benefits and rewards that we're going to give you, but you have to take a 2 to 3% pay cut. That's going to be on you to decide. But that's the next crisis, according to many economists, that workers are going to see their wages be reduced. So let me ask you this. If you are pretty much given two options, door number one, you get laid off, or door number two, you take a pay cut, which option are you taking? Let me know down in the comment section below.